Gather round and listen close as I spin ye a yarn about the Flying Dutchman, a ghost ship shrouded in mystery and dread. This legend, whispered by sailors across centuries, has its roots in the stormy seas and rich maritime history of the Netherlands. The Dutch, they were a hardy bunch, known for their seafaring prowess and trading empires. The vast oceans held no fear for them, but even the bravest souls feared the legend of the Flying Dutchman. This wasn't just some spooky tale told to frighten young cabin boys. It was a story woven into the fabric of their seafaring lives. Imagine the salty air, the creak of the ship, and then through the mist, a ghostly vessel emerges. It's said to be a phantom ship, forever sailing, unable to find peace or make port. A spectral galleon, often described as glowing with an eerie light, a harbinger of misfortune, forever doomed to roam the waves. The exact origins of the legend are lost to the mists of time, much like the Dutchman itself. Some say it arose from the perilous journeys around the Cape of Good Hope, where fierce storms and treacherous currents tested the mettle of even the most experienced captains. In today's episode, we will dive into one of the oldest, best-known and most terrifying maritime tales of all time, the chilling legend of a phantom ship known as the Flying Dutchman. At the heart of the Flying Dutchman legend lies a captain, a figure as cursed and tormented as the spectral vessel he commands. Many versions of his tale exist, each adding its own chilling layer to the myth. One popular version speaks of Captain Hendrik van der Decken, a proud and stubborn Dutchman who dared to challenge the very wrath of the seas. As the story goes, he was caught in a fierce storm off the Cape of Good Hope. The wind howled, the waves crashed, but Van der Decken, consumed by pride and perhaps a little Dutch courage, refused to turn back. He swore a blasphemous oath, vowing to round the Cape even if it took him until doomsday. Some versions even say he condemned God himself in his rage. The heavens, angered by his hubris, decided to take him at his word. Van der Decken and his ship were cursed to sail the seas for all eternity, never to find rest or reach safe harbour. The captain, driven mad by his fate, became a tormented soul, forever seeking redemption that remained always just out of reach. The Flying Dutchman is typically depicted as an 18th century Dutch East Indiaman, a type of large merchant ship common during that era, but she's far from a pristine vessel. Instead, she is a rotting, decaying spectre, her masts broken, sails tattered, and hull covered in barnacles and seaweed. Some tales describe her as glowing with a ghostly green or white light, cutting through the darkest fog and illuminating the terrified faces of those unfortunate enough to encounter her. Others claim she sails so fast that the seas around her boil and churn, a visual manifestation of the supernatural force that propels her. Regardless of the specific details, one thing remains consistent. The Flying Dutchman is not a sight any sailor wants to see. She is a symbol of misfortune, a warning that death or disaster might be close at hand. The legend finds its voice, Wagner's operatic masterpiece. The legend of the Flying Dutchman has resonated through centuries, inspiring countless works of art, literature and music. One of the most famous adaptations is Richard Wagner's epic opera, The Flying Dutchman. Premiering in 1843, Wagner's opera tells the story of the cursed captain and his quest for redemption. Through soaring music and dramatic storytelling, Wagner captured the essence of the legend, exploring themes of love, redemption, and the struggle against fate. The Flying Dutchman cemented the legend's place in popular culture and introduced it to a wider audience. Wagner's masterpiece remains a powerful and moving interpretation of this timeless tale. whispers from the deep, sailors' encounters and omens. Throughout maritime history, sailors have shared chilling accounts of encounters with the Flying Dutchman. These tales, passed down through generations, became an integral part of seafaring lore. Some describe seeing the ship emerge from the fog, its spectral crew going about their duties as if oblivious to the living beings watching them. Others claim to have received messages from the Dutchman, often warnings of impending storms or other dangers. One of the most famous encounters was made on July 11, 1881, by Prince George of Wales, future King George V, and his brother, Prince Albert Victor of Wales. At the time they were sailing off the coast of Australia. This from the Prince's log dated July 11, 1881, July 11th. At 4 a.m. the Flying Dutchman crossed our bows, a strange red light as of a phantom ship all aglow, in the midst of which light the masts, spars and sails of a brig 200 yards distant stood out in strong relief as she came up on the port bow, where also the officer of the watch from the bridge clearly saw her, as did the quarterdeck midshipman, who was sent forward at once to the forecastle. But on arriving there was no vestige nor any sign whatever of any material ship was to be seen, either near or right away to the horizon, the night being clear and the sea calm. 13 persons altogether saw her. At 10:45 a.m, the ordinary seaman who had this morning reported the Flying Dutchman fell from the foretopmast crosstrees onto the topgallant forecastle and was smashed to atoms. On October 17, 1998, Prince Edward, Duke of Edinburgh, was filming a show called Crown and Country, and he and some members of the film crew claimed to see the famous spectral vessel. Upon seeing it, he reportedly told everyone to wait until it got closer to the shore, and then it vanished in the mist. Edward, upon being interviewed about the incident, said, "I'm quite convinced, as far as ghosts are concerned, that there are too many stories, coincidences, occurrences and strange happenings. There is something definitely out there, but what it is, I don't really know. It's said that any ship that crosses the Dutchman's path is doomed to suffer a terrible fate." These encounters, whether real or imagined, served as a constant reminder of the power and unpredictability of the sea. This concludes today's episode of the Paranormal Report. If you enjoyed today's episode, please give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel. It is due to your continued viewership and support that we are able to bring you interesting and informative videos like this. The team here at the Paranormal Report really appreciates your support.